Hello, I'm Greg Mailer. Welcome to Hunt the Deck Building game. Today I'm going to do a demonstration on how to play the game. And first off, I will go over a little bit of setup. As you see out here, we have 5 piles of 8 cards, and I went ahead and set that up beforehand to go ahead so that it wouldn't take so long. But you go ahead and you'll have a deck of terrain, and there'll be 4 types. There's plains, forests, water, and mountains. And you'll just shuffle that up and deal out 8 cards each in 5 piles. And I have 24 left over because I have the expansion in here, which adds 24 more cards. And it'll be included in the Kickstarter, or I said Kickstarter, in the crowd sale. Basically lumped into the base game so that it saves you even more if you want to back. So I'm going to go ahead and delete those because we're not going to need those for this game. Basically, you put the rest back in the box after you've got 40 out here. Once you do that, you go ahead and shuffle the hunt shop and put out 5 cards. Okay. Move the whole deck. Okay. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright. And then you're going to go ahead and shuffle what I call the daily effect deck. And it's going to give us a bonus each turn, basically. And I'll go over that as we play. Over here is called the evasion deck, and we'll go ahead and give that a shuffle. And finally, our starting deck. We'll give that a shuffle. And basically, there's the hunt shop deck, then there's the terrain deck, the evasion deck, the daily effect deck, and then your starting deck, and that's it for the game. So there's only a couple decks that you need to manage. This is a solitaire game. There are plans to maybe add in a 2-player option in the future, but for now it is purely a solo game designed from the ground up for a solo experience. So we're going to go ahead and start the game, and I'll explain how to play. So first, you draw 6 cards from your starting deck, and let's look and see what we got. So I'm going to organize this a little bit. Alright, so there are about 6 different types of cards in the game. There's your ammo cards, which are going to give you colors, and then there's aim cards, which are generally going to give you what I call hunter power, which is the icon there in the middle of the card. This one gives you 1 hunter power, and then if you have another aim or stance card in play, it'll give you an extra one, so you can get 2 off of that card. These are what I call hunt cards. They have green background, and they can do generally they can do a bunch of different things. They're kind of just a generalized card, and they usually riff off of the terrain. So if you see this one, it says you gain 1 hunter power for each forest that is in play. So in this case, we would have 2 hunter power since there's 2 forests from that one if we played it. So I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but the first thing you do when you start the game on each turn, each round of the game, you will draw the top card of this deck, flip it over, and then we will look at it and do what this says. And this is AI Gary. This is your opponent that you're facing and trying to beat in the game. So first thing you look is the top part here on the hunt shop, and you remove the card in the hunt shop row where it tells you to. So in this case, we're going to move the 5th position. So this box of 30-6 is gone from the game. And I should mention that in the hunt shop, there is only 1 copy of every card. Since this is a solo game, I only put 1 copy of every card. So that card is gone for this game. And that adds a little bit, actually a lot, of replayability, because every game you're going to get way different cards as you play, and so the puzzle is going to be different every time because the AI is going to remove stuff or you won't. So it's pretty interesting in that way. Alright, so the second part is the location If it's a check mark here, which it is, it means that the AI Gary is going to actually get it and score the card. So you look at the arrow. This arrow tells you to go from left to right. If it was the other direction, you start from right to left. And you're going to take a forest. If there is no forest in play, the first forest you find. If there is no forest in play, then you're going to go from left to right for the first water. In this case, there is a forest, and it's right here. And you have an option of looking at the card, or you could wait until the end and kind of make it more surprising. And I think I'm going to do that so that we don't really know what he gets. So I'm just going to set it over here in his score pile. And I don't know what he got, but he took that card. And now you do your turn. And so one of the things you always do is you look at this top card, because after you draw the card, there'll be another card on the bottom or below it, and you get this ability for your turn. Now during the track phase, which is the first part of your turn, you may not scan hunt spots. So scanning, for instance, this one here gives you scan every hunt spot with a forest terrain, and then gain 1 hunter power for each one that you scan. So if I played that card, I wouldn't be able to scan, because right now we have low visibility for this day. It's just, perhaps it's foggy outside and you can't see, so we're not going to be able to scan hunt spots. But as it turns out, I don't have any scanning in my deck right now, so that's not going to really help us. So if you don't have any cards you want to play in the track phase, but I do have a couple cards that do give me some power here in the track phase. As you see, they have a track phase trigger right there, and that tells you generally when to play the card to get that effect. So I could play the walk the tree line to get, in this case it would only give me 1 power. The other ones, walk the field, it would give me 2 power since there's 2 planes in play. But I don't know where anything's at. If you've ever played tournament fishing, my other game, a lot of this game is going to be trying to figure out what's out here so that I can eventually get them in my score pile, is essentially. So I should talk about the theme of the game. The theme is essentially you're sent off to this imaginary hunting lease that has all kinds of animals from all over the United States that have been stalked here in this location. And it's like a hunter's dream, because usually you have to go all over the United States to hunt these specific animals, but in this location they're all located here specifically for the best hunters in the world. And you're going up against Gary, who's won 10 years in a row, and so you're trying to take him out and be the best hunter in the United States, at least. So that's sort of the theme. So every turn we are trying to find animals out here and to take them down so that we can score points. Now he's already scored this, we don't know what it is. So my point basically is, as you play the game more, you will figure out what the animals range from, and since I designed the game, I know what they are. But I'll go ahead and kind of go over that a little bit. Now the red animals are going to be your higher, bigger animals, so you're going to need a lot of power to take them down. So right at the first turn, this card is not really good. Green range in the mid range, so you need about 6 power to get them. Yellow, you need 4 to 6, so they're a little bit below mid range. And then there's 2 other colors. There's black and purple. Black needs from 1 to 3, and purple's the same, 1 to 3. So your purple and black, you have a better chance of getting something on your first turn. So even if I look here, I could generate a certain amount of power, but I would be looking out here blindly, not knowing what's out here. So what I like to do on the first turn is sort of put out a card, an ammo card, because during the second part of your turn, it's called the sorry, I'm trying to get the names. Since I designed tournament fishing as well, it's very similar, so I have to get the names right. So it's the track phase, and then you go to the target phase. In tournament fishing, it's called the cast phase, but in this one, it's called target phase. So during the target phase, you have to play 1 ammo, and then you can play any other card you want. For instance, this one has a target phase trigger. I could play the point, if I wanted to, but I kind of want to save it because in this game the cards can be played in 3 different ways. You can play that for the main text action, or you can play it for the dollars down here in the left corner, bottom left corner, or you can play it for its icons in the top left corner. And that we'll talk about later once we actually find an animal that we can try to take down. So I'm kind of conserving what I have here so that I can buy something good up here. But I'm going to use this card to look around and see what's out there. And so I'm just going to, when you play your ammo and you're done playing cards, then you get to make two target actions, which allow you to look at a card in here, turn it over, see what it is, and then put it back. So we're just going to go in this first mountain position. I have no idea what's there. So let's go ahead and take it off, flip it over, and let's look at it. So this is a black bear. This is an expansion card. And he takes 5 power, and that times 2 is going to tell you that he's actually worth 10 points at the end of the game because you double his power. But as in concern to how much hunter power you need, you only need 5. He's going to draw 2 evasion cards there in the center. That tells you that. And then on the right side, it's got all 5 colors: black, green, red, yellow, and purple. And that tells you that you need an ammo with at least 2 colors. So I cannot get this animal with any of my starting ammo because they only have 1 color. I have to find out, like this one here, it has 2 colors. So if I had that one, I would be able to actually get this guy. So, but now that I know it's there, I flip it back and I put it back right where it was. So I know it's there for future turns. And you get 1 more action, and so target action. So I'm going to go ahead and look and see what that one is. Okay, so we found an event. This is good. It says during the track phase, which we're not in the track phase, we're in the target phase. But if I had seen this in the track phase, it says if revealed during a scan, put this back in the box. So if you scanned out here and found this dud ammo, you could remove it, and you would kind of not have to endure that bad effect from this event, because this is a bad one. Now during the target phase, if I encounter this thing, I have to discard an ammo card from my hand, and then I put this back in the box. If Gary scores this card, it's 0 points. So if Gary happened to took it and put it in his pile, it wouldn't be worth anything. So we have to look at our hand. Since we do have an ammo, I have to discard one of these. And I'll just discard this one, just because it doesn't matter a whole lot. I'll put it over here in a discard pile. And then we can delete it, put it back in the box. So we didn't find out what was there. We actually found an event. It turns out we had a dud ammo and had to discard it. So that gives us less cards to buy something, which kind of stinks. And we only got 1 piece of information. We know that this is a 5 powered bear that needs 2 dual colors. So, but let's look and see what we have now. We have all your starting cards only give you 1 money, and they all each have 1 icon in the top left. So I got a total of 4 money here. And I look up over in the hunt shop, and in the top right corner it tells you how much they cost. So this spare magazine is a $4 card, and it says place any 1 ammo card from your discard pile or the spent ammo pile into your hand. Now the spent ammo pile is this little section over here where this little kind of an ammo box is here. If you actually get to the shot phase, like this card here says place this in the spent ammo pile. It's basically like you shot the bullet and then it goes into a pile as if it's spent. And then later on you can buy this one back for $3. So this card would allow you to, if it was in the discard pile, you can get it out of there, or you can take it directly from the spent ammo pile. So it's pretty cool. And then this one's going to allow us to scan and give us some power. This one is a good way to combo if you have a bunch of ammo cards, because you get to draw a card for each ammo in your hand. And then this one would allow me, this 22 box of 22 long would allow me to have that dual color I need for this guy. So there's some choices. I can get a couple different cards. Like I could buy that ammo, and then I could buy the ammo belt, which would combo off of it. I could also get some scanning power if like say my memory is not that great, because there is some memory in this game. the more scanning cards I have in my deck, the easier it is to mitigate that memory component. And also, this card, you may not scan hunt spots. There's only one of those in the deck, and you would know that as you play more. So I never would be bothered by that one again. So I think I'm going to do this. Since I know that that's a 5 dual colored, I'm going to spin 2. Now when you spin cards, you basically discard them. So that's 1 money, 2 money, and so I spent 2 money, and I'm going to get this into my hand at the end of the turn. So I'm going to sit over here for a second, and I've got 2 more money left in my hand. So I'm going to spend that to get the ammo belt, because that's going to combo very well with this one and plus all the ammo I have in my deck. So now that I've bought those 2, and it ends the... Oh, I should mention that this is called the buy phase. So I'm going to go ahead and draw those into my hand at the end of the phase. And the reason why I mention at the end of the phase is because you can't use these again to go ahead and buy something else. And if you notice here, each one of these is actually giving me 3 money if I have them during the buy phase. And all of the hunt shop cards give you at least 2 icons in the left. So they're more powerful cards to have in your deck. And so once you get done with the buy phase, you move on to the cleanup, and on that one you just refill the hunt shop with 5 new cards, or make sure there's 5, and then you draw back up to your hand size, which, let me scoot down a little bit, which we're going to need 6. Alright, and then you discard any cards you've played into the discard pile, and then after that it's on to the next round. So round 2, you always start off drawing one of these and doing the AI's action. So he's going to remove the 2nd position in the hunt shop. The high power scope is gone. And then, and then in this instance, he does not have a check mark, so he's not going to actually get one into a score pile. Gary's not, but he is going to remove one from the actual terrain out here. So in the 5th position, he's going to remove this, whatever this is, the top card. So we didn't know what that was, so it's not going to really affect us. And when you remove it, you put it back in the box, so I'm just going to delete it. And that's all he did. And that would represent that he tried to get something there, but he missed, and the animal ran away. That's what that represents. So AI Gary's turn is done. Now it's our turn. So I like to rearrange all my ammo to the right and kind of my other cards here. Now, if we look over here, one of the things you always should consider is what this effect says. Now this says the shop is closed right now. So for whatever reason, this day the shop is just closed and you can't buy cards. So this hand, I might as well focus as much as I can to try to get something out here. Excuse me, instead of, because I can't buy anything. So I'm going to go ahead and play my ammo belt right off the bat, because you can get a maximum of 3, and you draw a card for each ammo card in your hand. You draw a card, a maximum of 3. Turns out I have 3 ammo cards in my hand, so I'm going to get to draw 3 cards, which I like. Let's flip this over, shuffle, and draw 3 cards. So I got a massive hand here, which is great. Let's see. Alright, so I played that one. And the first part of your phase is a track phase, so that's why that triggered. I played it for its track phase effect. And it's essentially going to sit there and do nothing because it has no other benefits. So now I look, and it's still the track phase, and I want to see if I want to play any of these 2, because I believe that's the only ones that have track phase right now that I have. So I look, there's only 1 plains in play. There's a mountain and 3 waters. So this would give me 1 power, and I just don't think that's good enough. But I do need to get 5 power, because this one I know has 5. So I look at how can I get 5 power. That's what I need. And I know that I have 2 aim cards, and they riff off of other aim cards or a stance card. I don't have any stance cards right now, but if I played both of these, it would be giving me 4. So I'm going to go ahead and need 1 more power, so I'm going to go ahead and play this one, because it turns out I'm going to need that 1 power to get to 5. So there's 1 power, and then I'm going to move to the target phase because I don't have any more track phase effect cards that I want to play. So I'm playing basically these 2 points, and that'll give me 4, 5 power, and then I'm going to put out my dual colored ammo. Let's move this out a little bit. And now I've got 4 cards left in my hand, of which to try to counter this evasion that this animal is going to do to me. Now here's the choice where you can press your luck a little bit. I know this is there because I saw it last turn. However, to beat the AI, you need to kind of press your luck a little bit to get more information. Now remember, you get 2 target actions on the target phase. So I could go here, and if I did, I would have what I need to try to take it down. But I get 2 actions, so I might as well use my other action to look out here for the next turn. However, you saw that I got that event last time. There could be some nasty events out here that can cause me to like totally lose all my target actions, and I would have to go to the buy phase. There's things like that. So you're pressing your luck, but I'm going to do it because I know the AI is very difficult. So I'm going to go ahead and see what's right here. This is my first target action. Oh, and looky what we got here. We found a mountain lion, which takes 4 power, and it's another dual color. So I could optionally do this one instead of doing the 5 power one, but I've already generated 5 power, so I might as well go after the 5 power one. And I know that the 4 is going to be there, next time. So I flip that back, and now my second target action, I'm going to flip over the top card, and of course I knew it was there. And I've got what I need. I got my 5 power, and I've got my dual color ammo. So now we move to what's called the shot phase. During the shot, you actually are taking a shot, and one of the differences between hunt versus tournament fishing is, in the case of tournament fishing, when I looked at the top card here, I would have had to go with that 4. Because when you press with luck in tournament fishing, you could also see a fish that's going to take your lure, and you don't have control of that. In hunt, you have control of where you want to fire because you get to control where you want to shoot. So that's one of the differences in the game. So I want to shoot this one instead of that one, so therefore I'm going back here to get the black bear. Alright, so we move to the shot phase, and as you notice here in the middle of the card, there's 2 cards, and they look like this one, and it's called the evasion card. So we're going to draw 2 of these. I'm going to shuffle it one more time. So here's one, and that's a blank. That's great. And this is a green, which can be transformed into a white icon. And what these are representing is the animal trying to evade you. So this green one is meant to be, okay, he's moving a little bit, and so anytime the animal's moving, it's harder to target him. So to counter that, you have to basically deal with it. Now the white one is that the animal sees you, or he's gonna see you, and so if you don't evade that, he's gonna get away from you. And then there's a yellow icon, and that one's just a general awareness icon, and it's just a question mark, like a caution. And so basically these are representing 3 events that could happen while you're trying to target this guy and get a shot on him. And it turns out he did a blank, and then he moved a little bit. So I need to look at my hand, and I have to discard one of these cards that has a green icon. And thankfully, I've got a yellow, white, and green, and so I have it. So all I have to do is discard that one, and I can counter that green. And then I went ahead and get this into my score pile. So I've got 1 animal over here compared to his, and it's worth 10 points in the game, so I'm really happy about that. And at the final step of the shot phase, you would, if you had used any ammo that had to go to the spent ammo pile, you would put them over there. But this card doesn't. It's a box, so you have basically indefinite number of these, as opposed to your starting cards that go way out of your deck. So then you discard all of the evasion cards back into the discard pile, or to this discard pile, and you get to choose the order. And so I'm going to go ahead and put the blank on top because there are cards that interact with the top pile and top card in the discard pile. and so I want it to be a blank because I can sometimes swap it out. Okay, so that explains basically the shot phase and even discarding cards. Pretty good overview of the game so far. So okay, so after the shot phase is over, then you move to the buy phase. So I look back at my hand and I actually have $3 to buy something. Remember, I got the extra 3 cards from the ammo belt, so that really helps me to get a really massive turn. I got a 10-point card and I get to buy something worth $3. So let's look up here. I've got a backpack, which you get to draw 3 cards, keep 1 in your hand, put 1 on top of your deck, and then discard the other. I can't afford the spare magazine. I could get the one with the forest, but I look out here and there's no forest out here. So if I got that into my hand, it wouldn't be very good for me next turn. This one is a very good card because it gives you 4 hunter power and a red, which the red are the biggest in the game. So that's a very, very good ammo card, and it's a box, so it doesn't go away from your deck. I think I'm gonna go with the backpack to get some more card draw. I like doing decks with a lot of card draw, so let's go ahead and discard, if I can select all these. Discard my 3 cards to get this into my hand. Alright, and that is into the buy phase. Cleanup phase, we will... Oh man, I almost always do this. I'm very, very sorry. I need to figure out a way to kind of remember. When I'm playing this on the physical copy, I even sometimes forget. Now remember this thing over here. You may not buy cards, and some of you are probably saying, hey, you couldn't have done that. And you're exactly right. So I cannot buy cards. I'm glad I caught it. So I can't buy that. And a lot of times I'll take this card and kind of this deck and just put it on over here somewhere so that I remember not to buy anything. Okay, and that means the spent ammo pile too. I can't buy anything at all. So basically, I am going to just skip the buy phase and then go to the cleanup phase. So I'm going to replace that card, and then I'm going to draw back up to my hand size of 6 and discard everything that I played. Alright, and then we move to the AI's turn. Flip it over. Alright, so since I didn't get to buy anything, Gary doesn't buy anything either. There's no X's in the hunt shop, and then he is going to get something this turn though. He's got a check moving from right to left. The first water we see, if there's no water, then the first forest. So right to left, there's this one, so he's going to get this one. I don't think we knew what that was, but that's the card he's going to get. So here's Gary's score pile, and this is our score pile. And that's generally how the game's going to go. You're going to continue playing, buying cards, scanning, and you're going to go. I'll go a couple more turns, and I might not explain as much stuff, but just so you can see how it goes. But generally, this is how the game's going to go. You're going to continue. You're going to try to get animals. There's 13 rounds. On the final round, you're not going to have any effect. So it's going to be just a blank effect over here. What else? And yeah, you just keep going. And then at the end of the game, you count the cost. So let's see. This guy is worth 10 points because you double his score. And basically, this is not only how much hunter power you need, it's also the total at the end of the game that you get. Let's go ahead and do a couple more turns. Now look at my hand here. I have 5 ammo cards and 1 aim card. And thankfully I've got a headwind that gives me 1 hunter power. So I could generate 2 power, but once again I do not know what anything is out there anymore. That's the only card I knew, and then I found an event last time. So I'm not looking too good on... I don't know any information at all. Now I do have the purple and the black, which are the lowest 2 out there. So there is a chance with this 1 power that I actually could get something. And a lot of the strategy that I've been using in the game, and that you might want to use too, is trying to get some of these lower ones out of your deck. And so sometimes I try to find a low one to get early on so that I remove that from my deck, and then my deck is kind of getting thinned. And I scored a point, and I got to thin my deck a little bit. So that's one of the cool, kind of unique things about the game. So let's go ahead and just play that one out. And then, well, we also want to look and see what we got out here. I sort of would like this one, but I want some scanning power too. So these two cards, this one's kind of the opposite. This is plain view. It riffs off the plains. This one riffs off the forests, letting you scan. So let's go ahead and just put that out there, and then let's look in this position. What? And look at that. There's a squirrel right there. He needs 100 power, and he needs a purple ammo. I could take a shot at him and get rid of this from my deck and perhaps score another point. I could optionally not try to get him, and maybe let Gary get him. See, this is a mountain terrain, and there's only one mountain out here, so if Gary was going to get a mountain, he would take this one. So it's choices. You could just leave it there and say, nah, I'll keep this in my deck, and I just won't take out this squirrel. It's not worth it. Or I could do it, and instead I'm going to flip it back over and I'm going to see what's in that forest position. Towards the end of the game, yeah, you probably don't want 1 point towards the end of the game. At the beginning, this is like turn, 2 or 3? I think this is a good option. So I'm going to go ahead and actually just go for it and take a shot at him. Now, he only pulls one evasion card, so let's see what he pulls. And it's a blank. So I don't have to discard any card at all, and I get the squirrel into my score pile. And this ammo card goes to the spent ammo pile, and I could buy it back at some point in the game, or it just stays over there if I don't want to go after any purple ones anymore. So now I look back in my hand, I believe I have $5 to spend in the buy phase. And so I could buy that big ammo card there. I could get some scanning power. I do notice I do have 1 plains there, and I have 1 forest, so this would actually give me some scanning power now. So how about we... Man, it's real tempting to get that one. But let's get some scanning power. Let's spend 1, 2, and get the plain view. And why not? Let's just spend 1, 2, and get the other one. So you can buy as many cards as you want, but you cannot just discard a card for no reason. When you discard a card, it has to be generating the money. So this one that only costs 1, I could discard it to buy this back, but I don't really want that in my deck. I'm glad that it's out of my deck because I like to thin the deck a little bit. So I'm not going to buy that back. I'm going to keep this in my hand because I need an ammo to perform target actions. So in case I don't draw one, I at least have an ammo. And then I really can only buy that anyway. So I'm going to end the buy phase and flip over 2 cards. Alright. And then it looks like I need to flip over, reshuffle, draw back up to 6 cards. What else? I think that's it. Yeah. Alright, so that's the next turn. Let's go ahead and do one more turn. So AI Gary is going to delete the middle card in the buy row, and he's going to delete the top card here. I don't vote. Well, let's just go ahead and flip it. You can look at the cards. I in this game I was not looking at them, but here's a moose. This guy takes 10 power, worth 10 points in the end of the game. He's going to draw 3 evasion cards, and he needs a red power. That's why this one is a very good ammo. Oops. That's why this one's a very good ammo, because it not only gives you 4 power, but it also gives you that red. So anyway, he's going to be gone from the game, and let's go ahead and see what else we can do. This hand. Alright, let's look. Now I get this. Ooh, look at that. I get to scan a hunt spot. Any one I want. You got a clear view today. So let's go ahead and scan one. Well, I don't know what this is. Let's go ahead and scan it. Oh, great. A gun jam. If revealed during a scan, during the track phase, put this card back in the box. On the target phase, I would have to skip to the buy phase and then put this card back in the box. If Gary gets it, it's worth 0 points. So this Gun Jam is a really bad card, and since we scanned it, we get to avoid it, and it's gone. So that's good. And look what that did. That opened up. There's a couple forests over here now, and that plays with my one with the forest. So this is a hunt card, and it has the track phase effect that you get to scan every hunt spot with a forest terrain, and then you gain. I should mention. I don't think I mentioned this. These are called hunt spots. Kind of embarrassed. I didn't go over that. Each one of these is called a hunt spot, and then the top card that's on the top of it is the terrain card that it is currently, and it is also considered in play. So if I played this one with the forest, it would give me 2 hunter power, and as well it would give me 2 more because I'm going to get to scan this one. Oh, great. There's another dud ammo. So basically I can delete that one. It's gone. And then there's this one. And there's a buffalo, multicolor once again. So I need dual color, and it's another 5. So let's flip that back. And in this case, since I removed that event, it turns out that there's another forest underneath it, and in that case, it's sort of a special case. You would actually get to scan it again, because technically this came into play, and it's still the hunt, the track phase, and you also are still resolving this effect. So I can actually look at this one now as well, and there's an 8 red. It's going to pull 3 evasion cards. Oh, another black bear. Okay, so I know that there's a 5 multicolor and a 8 red there, and I scanned 3 different times. So this card is giving me 5 power in and of itself, which is amazing. I did a lot of hunting in the forest and got a lot of information. So now I've got 5 power. It's too bad I don't have that dual colored the dual colored ammo. If I did, I would be able to. But look at that, I've got my ammo belt, and it's still the track phase. Since it's still the track phase, I could play the ammo belt. Matter of fact, I could still play the plain view if I wanted to look at that plains. I think that I'm going to play the ammo belt first, because I've got 2 ammo in my hand, so I get to draw 2 cards, and perhaps I draw that card, but I didn't. So it was a gamble. I didn't draw the dual colored one. If I'd have drawn my red ammo, that would be good too, because I could go after the 8 red that's there. But c'est la vie, I don't have that. So I do have 5 power though. So why don't we go out with a yellow? Because yellow, I know, has a range of 4 to 6. So there could be a chance with this 5 power that I have that I actually am able to take something out with this. I know what these 2 are, so now that I'm moving to the shot phase, I'm going to go ahead and, not the shot phase, the target phase. I'm going to use my 2 target actions. The first one I'm going to use right here to see what that is. And look, because of my knowledge, as you play the game, you'll start to notice this, but since I designed it, I'm sort of telling you that I knew that there were 4 power. 4 to 6 is yellow, so that's sort of why I used yellow. So there, I could go after this bobcat, or I could flip it over and go look at this one if I didn't want to go for the bobcat. But four points right now, and getting rid of this yellow from my deck just seems like a good option. So I'm going to go ahead and go for the bobcat instead of looking at that one with my second target action, because I can't go back to that one afterwards. So I'm going to go ahead and just pull the 2 evasion. Alright, this is a good time to do this one, because this question mark up here means any color. So I could discard a card, any one I want, for this one to basically counter that one. And so for the second one, he's going to get a white, which I could switch to a green if I had. Switching here, there's going to be certain cards in the hunt shop that allow you to switch it down there. I don't have any of those right now. So I need any color and a white. Well, 12 gauge gives me a white. I also have walk the field. I'm going to go ahead and just discard the walk the field to counter that white. I'm going to discard it. And then this one takes any. So, which one do I want? Let's go ahead and discard the point. Nah, let's not do that. Let's discard the 12 gauge. Alright, so I was able to counter both of those cards, and so I get the Bobcat into my score pile. Alright, and then, the end of the shot phase, I put the 223 ammo into the spent ammo pile, and I thinned my deck even more. Now 2 cards are out of my deck, and I'm basically getting it more and more honed down to where towards the end of the game I'm going to be going after these larger animals, hopefully having green and red ammo. So anyhow, that's how the game plays. You continue to play and go through that process, like I said, and look at what we get. So now let's go ahead and, since this is the end of the video, look and see what he got AI Gary got so far. So he got a 6 whitetail, and he also got that mountain lion, which is worth 8 points. So he ends up getting an opportunity where, let's go ahead and look at another one real quick. So this one says a check mark from right to left, find a plane. So the next one he would have got would have been this one. So he would have gotten, that was a 10-point grizzly bear. So now there is an opportunity where he's going to get up to 8 cards every game. At most he will get is 8 cards. Now if there is no plains or mountain in this situation, he would get no cards. So even though he was supposed to grab one, he would not get any. Now, so there represents situations where just because of the terrain that's out there, he might not get something. So there's a chance that he doesn't get 8 cards, is basically my point. So that's a way he can whiff. He can basically whiff. He didn't find anything on his hunting attempt. The other way he can whiff is if he actually pulls an event card. You know, like I showed you, one of those events, or they say how much they cost. So let's see if I can find an event here. See, like this one right here. If he pulls that into his pile, it's worth 0 points at the end of the game, which is basically like a whiff. So there's 2 ways that AI Gary can whiff. He can either not have the correct terrain out there, or if he grabs one of these events cards. Now there's one event in the expansion where it's worth 5 points for him, and it's the only beneficial event in the game, and it's called a game trail, and it's a really cool, here it is. So for the game trail, if it's a track or the target phase, when it's revealed, you attach it to any one hunt spot. So I basically attach it underneath any one of these 5 that I want, and it becomes a game trail, and you play with the top card of that hunt spot face up. If Gary scores it, it's worth 5 points. So basically I would put it like over here, and then for the rest of the game I'm going to play with this one face up, so I'm always going to know what's there. Now say that there was an event here that was face up. I would know it's there, but in order to remove it I would have to do something, like either perform a target action there, or because in order to remove it, it takes an actual scan of the spot. So if you look here, if revealed during a scan, so basically if it's face up here, and say this card was face up, I would have to leave it there, and if I wanted to scan it I could remove it, or if I wanted to reveal a target, if I wanted to use my last target action, I could kind of get rid of it too, or I could just leave it out there hoping Gary picks it up into his pile. So there's a lot of options in this game, and let's go take a look at some of the rest of the cards. Like we didn't even find any of these yet. This is a stance card, and there is only one restriction, 2 restrictions in the game. You can only play 1 ammo card during the target phase. Only 1. You can't play 2 ammos. Only 1. And you have to play 1. And then stance cards, you can only play 1, but you don't have to play 1, but you can only play 1 stance card. And so these are going to allow you to have mitigation for the shot, for the evasion cards here. And one of the evasion cards is a miss. So let's see if I can find the miss real quick. This guy here, if you ever get this one, you cannot avoid it except with these type of mitigation effects. Discard any one evasion card and draw a new one to replace it. So if the miss came out, I could use this effect if I had that card. And then this icon in the top left corner means you shuffle all of the cards back up and form a new deck anytime the mist comes out. So that we didn't go over that, but it's good to go over in this video. So let's look. There's an ATV. Draw 2 cards, and then you must put the top card of any one hunt spot back in the box. So this one allows you to draw cards and kind of get to a location quicker. But since you made some noise, one of the cards on the top of one of the terrains you have to put in the box. So it could allow you to remove one that you know that you don't want to go to, or you might remove one on accident that you wanted to go to. You have to be careful. And let's see. So the deer blind. This is another cool one that you get to attach to a hunt spot. We didn't get any of the attachment cards yet, but these are going to be attached certain places, and they kind of are a permanent card, and they stay in play until the red text is used down here at the bottom. So this deer blind, you would attach it to a hunt spot kind of like the game trail, and then it's the same thing. It would allow you to play with the top card of that one face up, but this one is one that you play in your deck, not an event card. So one of the things about tournament fishing is there was a variant where you could play where there was no memory at all. So if you scanned a place, or if you did a target action, you would just basically leave it face up. Instead of putting in a variant like that in the game, what I did is I put a whole lot more cards where you can scan and you can leave cards face up, so that you could play with the memory component, but you would also have ways to mitigate that, a lot more ways than you do in tournament fishing. So I was hoping to encourage people to use the memory component. You can still play with it if you don't like it. You can still play with the memory variant, no memory variant, but I would think that I think I put enough of these in there, and enough of these scanning cards where you can get turns where you know what almost everything is out there without having to leave them face up. So anyway, I should mention that there's one other variant that's in the rules for AI Gary. You can you can actually add a third way he can whiff. So I mentioned if he gets an event like this, it's essentially a whiff. If there are no terrain of those types that he's supposed to get something, then he would whiff. The other way you can do it is, instead of just putting the card in his score pile, what you can do is draw the evasion cards that the animal's supposed to have. So in this variant, you would have to look at them before you put them in his pile, and you would draw those 3 evasion cards, and if you had got a miss on any one of those, then he would not score it, and he would basically lose it like you would. And so that one is a variant you can use. And if the game is being very difficult for you and you're struggling, this is one way to lower the difficulty a little bit, so that he has a third way to whiff. And so the chances are he will score 1 card less. Is basically how the math works out. It could be where he scores a lot less, depending on how many times he gets that miss card. And once again, if you do that variant and he does get a miss, you have to shuffle all of these back up to basically form a new deck, since the miss card causes you to do that anytime the miss card comes out. So basically you'd reshuffle this back up and start back over. And I'm trying to think. I think that's pretty much it. I hope that gave you a good overview of the game, and you get to see some of the cards and how this looks. It's really good. One thing I want to mention is like this card here, where you see this white border on the side here. That won't be in your card. On the card, the physical cards. What that is so the coyote is not kind of centered. So to make it more centered, I moved the image over just a tad, but the bleed line is like going to be enough to where it's not gonna hit that. I've done enough printing at the Game Crafter to know that you get a lot more wiggle room than they're more safe than you need to be. So that white area is basically going to be cut off, and you're not going to see that at all. So I did that on some of the cards so that I could line up the animal into the center better. A lot of them I didn't have to do that, but So I just wanted to mention that in case that you noticed that. So anyhow, that's how you play Hunt, and you just keep going, and each of the effects, like this one here. This one here lowers your exposed this day, and so you've got -2 hunter power. Discard a card to draw a card. This one you have a false lead. Maybe you're at the hunt shop and somebody told you, hey, yeah, there's a good spot over here, and it turns out it was a false lead. There's another tailwind. This one you get +2. You have a 360-degree view. Maybe you found a really good spot where you can see all around you. So you get better power that day. Draw a card and then discard a card. So you got plenty of cool effects. And I tried to make this deck, if you know anything about tournament fishing, I tried to make it where it encompassed some of the weather expansion and even some of the location expansion, and made it all into like the clock deck. So that's what I tried to do with this one, since it was a daily effect. The idea is you got 13 days on this hunt, and so with this deck it's basically 13 days. As you see the art here in the top, it's basically a calendar, and I will be hunting on those 13 days. So anyhow, that's Hunt. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm gonna go ahead and stop it. It's a little over 50 minutes, and I think that gives you a good overview of what's in the game. Hope you enjoyed it. Once again, I'm Greg Mailer with Hunt, the deck building game. Hope to see you in the crowd sale. Thanks, bye.